guys? Nick with Loud Thumbs here. Just wanted to bring you an impressions video that I've been playing some Biomutant. Very, very good game. At this point, I'm probably about 8 to 10 hours into it. I want to bring you some first impressions, just kind of go over everything I've been feeling about the game right now. Some good, some bad, some mixed, reviews, opinion on it, at least anyway. A little bit about the story of the game. You actually start out as a, some sort of a like mutant raccoon or mouse, or depending on how you can make your character look. And you're charged with either destroying the Tree of Life for reasons I'll leave a mystery, so you maybe want to play, or save it, so for other reasons as well. There's one giant tree right in the middle of the map, and it has branching roots, and there is a world eater at each root. You have to go and either defeat them or just kind of allow them to continue doing what they're doing, depending on which way you go, because there is a dark and light system in the game. So yeah, you can do the whole good or evil, which is kind of cool. That's really the gist of the story. Your Muma, which is what they call your mom in the game, and you are using her teachings in Wung Fu, which is the type of karate or, kung fu, if you will, in the game. So you are using her teachings, and you're just kind of looking back at your history and your memories of her and what you've done as a little youngling. You just kind of end up using more and more of your abilities, being this little kung fu character. And you can focus more on that, or you can just kind of go magical. There's an ability in the game, which is what I chose, is a ki energy, ki energy character. You can kind of focus more of your points when you make your character toward one thing or another. There's all sorts of different ones you can choose from. I believe there's 4 different classes that you can do. Which, you got your like tank class, and then you got your melee class, and your ranged class, and then your magic class. So, and I believe that's the 4 of them. But I kind of wanted to do the magic thing, so I had that ability in the future. And then you dump your points for different sorts of upgrades, and you can actually upgrade it multiple different ones anyway. So you can upgrade range, or your health, or stamina. You have the ki energy you can upgrade. There's an intelligence upgrade you can do, and there's also a charisma, kind of like you can barter and like get people to like give you hints to things when they're not around. Like, hey, this is, go find it, and you can kind of talk to them in certain ways, like a Skyrim would have been, or the Oblivion games where you can kind of barter and get the prices down. These guys, you can kind of get information out of them, which is kind of cool. One of the big things about this game is it's being trekked as a AAA title, because it does look like a AAA title. Visually looks like one. It is more of what I would call a AA title. It is not. It's made by a group of developers that all wanted to make a game, and they all left where they were working and came together, and they made this game. So 20 people made this game, which I think is dumbfounding. It doesn't add up when you see the game. Like, you're like, really, holy crap, how did 20 people make this game? It has a lot going on, so you need to really pay attention to your controls and other things as you're playing. You'll learn them. They all come eventually. The control scheme reminds me a lot of Breath of the Wild, which there was a lot to learn in that, when it came to crafting and switching weapons while fighting, and going from, using your abilities with your runes and stuff like that you could do in Breath of the Wild. Because this game, you have the ability to use magic, melee, ranged. The magic is the key, but then there's another ability where you can hold the left trigger. It activates more options on the face buttons. So you can map it to anything you want as you unlock them. Currently I'm using some fire and some lightning, which is pretty fun. So, and that uses up like your energy or your stamina to use it. It's a lot going on for a company that had 20 people developing this title. Crafting is another big part of the game. You can craft ranged and melee weapons, which is amazing. You just find scrap a lot like Borderlands. You would find things. You got like options where you can, you can, like for example, the one I found a um, is an oil filter with like bolts just drilled into it, and it has a fire element ability. And then I found a handle to like samurai sword, and I just slapped them together. And now when I melee with that thing, it creates fire damage. It has like a fire range damage, like a circular damage that comes out of it as well. And you're hitting them with fire every time you're swinging. And you can do that. That's just like one of the first ones I found that has an element to it. There's other ones as well that you can do. But you can, if you fall in love with a weapon, you can go to specific points in the map where you can go up it's like a balloon with a rope on it, climb up to the top, and you get up there and you can just upgrade all of your stuff. So if you love something, stick with it. You just keep upgrading it along with your character, which is very cool. Just a lot going on. There's things you can mount in the game. I think I've had like 3 different mountable animals that you run into. You have to kind of give them a fruit. Tames them depending on who they are or what they are, what sort of animal they are. You might have to give them something different. One little cool thing that not a lot of people have been talking about is there's a little mechanical grasshopper. Essentially, he's just a robot grasshopper, but he morphs into things. It took me a few minutes, but you kind of hear him moving and making noises and things like this, and then you go into like a dark area, and he disappeared. Like I had no clue what happened, and then I kind of went in and out of some dark areas and realized that he turns into a flashlight, and like he'll get into the pocket, or he'll just like attach himself, and then he'll turn into a flashlight on the back, and then when you get out of a dark area, he'll jump off of you and he'll scatter. I just upgraded him to an ability where he turns into a glider, so you can like jump off a cliff and you just reach up in the air and he'll just appear and boom, and then wings come out of the top of him. And it's just something I thought was really cool, really neat, different. And a big thing about the game is it's got a lot of charm. It's the way it looks. I mean, it reminds me a lot of like the animal type games that came out in the 64 era. Conker's Bad Fur Day, Banjo-Kazooie. There's a lot of like little tiny things in the game that I've noticed that just give me that little bit of feeling of that. Because it's kind of platformy sometimes, to go and find things and to venture up walls and cliffs and stuff like that to get to stuff. So kind of felt like the Banjo game a little bit in that, because you got to go find the puzzle pieces and stuff in that game. But I was pleasantly surprised with this game, just because there's so much going on with it. It just has a really fun, light gameplay feel. Once you get the controls down, which doesn't really take long, they give you between an hour and 2 hours on the tutorial, depending on how fast you go through it, and whether you're listening to the narrator narrate everything that's happening and all the dialogue of people talking to you. You can do that, or you can just quickly get through it, and just kind of learn the controls as you go. But I took my time through that, and I got a hold of the controls as soon as each thing happened. They give you kind of they do it as you play the game, which I really like. They don't make you read a bunch of shit and then tell you go out and remember everything you just read. You do it as it's happening, which is my preferred way of learning controls. So it was a lot nicer. I enjoyed that. The battles feel slightly like Monster Hunter when you're controlling, just because of the dodge and everything going on. You got to know when to attack pretty much, or you're going to get stomped on, because some of the mini bosses are huge. I mean, you're this tiny little thing the size of a raccoon, or maybe a little bigger, not much. So you face things that are the size of a house, and they're small they call them mini bosses. So they're not even the world eaters. The world eaters are enormous. The controls are very kind of Monster Hunter-ish. So far, I haven't ran into any of them where I'm required to hit them with certain abilities. I think I might run into that in the future, because I do have the ability to do fire and ice and biotoxic stuff and things like that. So I think there's going to be animals, or I should say bosses, that I'm going to run into that are going to have specific ways to defeat them, which is very Monster Hunter. So yeah, very cool. Love the combat. It flows good, and it's a good time. There's maybe a few little things into the game where if I really wanted to pick them out, if I wanted to be nitpicky about it all, um, like there's rocks in the terrain that you're running, and you'll run through the rock. It's not like, you go up and over the rock or something. It's like you just go through it as if it's the ground. You know what? I forgive that sort of stuff. It's not game breaking. It doesn't take me out of the experience. It's just one less thing I have to get stuck on or go around or whatever. And you know what? I'm going to give it a pass on a game that's made by 20 people and this good. I mean, this game is really good. It's just a lot of fun to play and relax and sit down and go through. I've yet to play the game and get like frustrated of any kind. I mean, I did run into a really fun fight that it was a good time because there was probably about 12 enemies at a campsite. And when you find campsites in the game, you can sit there and you can like revive your health or things like that. But you can't do it until you clear the area. So I cleared the area, but it took me at least 10 tries, which was when I really realized how the load times are. Load times aren't bad. You're like 15, 20 seconds on the load times, which is pretty good. And I'm playing it on a PS5. The way I came at the characters or the enemies, there was one mini boss within them, was cool because you just kind of do it any way you wanted to. I did some with melee, some with range, some with my abilities using toxic stuff or using the fire and everything. So, and it was a good time. It was challenging. I mean, they took me out multiple times, but I ended up defeating them in the long run, and it just felt good. Like it was one of those challenges, like, okay, passed it, learned a lot in the fighting. The one weird part about it that I'll say is it has a really weird way of auto-saving. It, during that battle a couple of times, I ended up having to reload my original save when I walked up on the camp because I had fought to the point where I was like almost dead and I had like 2 or 3 enemies left. But when I was killed, instead of it restarting me over with full health and all of my health available to use, it saved randomly like around a building, and it was toward the end of the battle, and I really don't know why I did it. So that was a little strange. So I did have at least one save I'd always kind of kept going. So that's probably a tip out there for everybody. If you do get into a battle and you might be having a hard time, maybe just do a manual save. Especially if you run into characters, like I was like a level 8 at the time, and I believe these guys are like a level 11 or 12. So I was still able to defeat them, which was cool that they didn't just destroy me, but it was just a tougher battle, making the difficulty, even more if you wanted to, adjust it to make it more difficult. Really, I didn't have too many glitches or any issues or anything like that, other than that one, since I've been playing. Like I said, I'm probably right about 10 hours on the game. So I'd say I'm about 25-30% through it from everything I know. Got a good gist on what's happening with the story. Having a good time with it. Like, it really is fun. I'm probably gonna finish it in the next few days. Yeah, Biomutant is just a overall really good game. It doesn't do anything amazing. It doesn't bring a whole lot new to the table, but it has a really different type of story, and the way the open world plays out, it's very large. It allows you to do multiple things. I mean, it's a lot like some of the things I had mentioned was it's like a Horizon or like a Breath of the Wild, maybe even more than Horizon. Borderlands kind of smashed together with, mutant animals, So it does have a lot going on, but it has a lot of good going on for it as well. And just kind of overall, okay. It's not amazing. I wish it was. There could have been some things they could have done to, make it even better. This is a hell of a game to start with, and I say go for it. I think it's worth the $60. It's an easily play through twice sort of game because you're going to be able to get all of your first playthrough. You could go good, and your second playthrough you could go dark, and you get 2 gameplays, and you're going to see 2 different endings. I guarantee it. And from some of the things I've seen in the story and gone through so far, you may be able to do different endings besides those 2, because there are some decisions that I've just been told about that I have to make that could change it again. Highly recommended. I'm enjoying it. I'd love to talk to you guys about it. And you know, we're just starting out here. This is our first impressions, first impressions. So video. And yeah, we were just going to kick this back off again and just get everybody talking about it. We would love it, especially, if you liked, if subscribed, click the bell, follow us, comment below. Let's talk some games. That's it for now, guys. Hopefully this has helped out a little bit, and you're out there enjoying some games. So remember, I'm Nick, and always don't be quiet, be loud, guys.